I think Neal is boarded.
All right. Good afternoon. I'm so honored to be here. I think I speak for everyone in the media group that we've had an unbelievable couple days in Zimbabwe. Love the country. Everything from elephants walking through the garden in the hotel to bungee jumping to making friends, enjoying your amazing culture. So thank you for having us. My name is Ross Borden. Yeah, please give yourself a round of applause. My name is Ross Borden. I run a company called Matador Network. We are the world's largest online travel magazine. So we focus on publishing travel content from all over the world. We're going to be 6 years old in September. And we work oftentimes with DMOs and tourism organizations to figure out good strategies, because we do promote and create content for all over the world and all sorts of different subjects. And we've got the biggest readership in travel. We're bigger than Condé Nast or any of the larger, more traditional travel outlets. So I've got a couple slides here. I did this presentation on the way, and I'm going to modify it a little bit because I've been really interested to see some of the sessions yesterday and just some of the off-session conversations that I've had with people that I think bring up really interesting and important points. So I'll stay, roughly focused on the slide deck, but I really want to leave some time for questions and hear from you guys as well. So I'm big on content. I'm not big on advertising. I think it's great that Ronnie laid out the basics of social media. I think social media is extremely important. I know it seems like it could be a fad at times. I assure you it's not. I look at traffic data every day. Social media like Facebook and Twitter send hundreds of thousands of visitors to our sites every single month, like clockwork. And it's an extremely important two-way medium. So I would definitely listen to what Ronnie suggested with setting up a social media account. If you don't already have it, it's extremely important. It can be very valuable. And as he also noted, it's free. So that is sort of, one of the things we use. This is a little bit about Matador. The only thing I really want to focus on about Matador, and then we'll talk about Africa, is that we got to 0 to 1.8 million unique visitors a month without spending $1 on advertising. And a lot of that was thanks to social media. And it's not like, pat us on the back. I just want you to see it as a huge opportunity for all of you, that you could get that kind of growth in readership and awareness for free. Basically, it's not going to, time is money, of course, but it's better than paying for advertising. So this is a slide where I'll just start. Where do U.S. travelers go? And you can see that's actually 19% is that's the Caribbean. That's not the U.S. 7% to Central America, 9% to South America, 19% to Asia, 6% to the Middle East, and 35% to Europe. Only 3% to Africa, which I think is an opportunity, and it's something that should, for the product that you guys have, for the wildlife, the natural beauty, the authentic culture that you guys have here. It's a shame that it's only 3%. We heard from the Vice President yesterday that this region is growing faster, or it's among the fastest growing tourism regions in the world. That's great news. We heard from the tourism minister that Zimbabwe is coming back and with a vengeance and really growing really fast with tourism. That's great news. But it can grow much faster. So I'm going to throw out a couple ideas on how to address that faster growth. So what are the challenges, really? We got 2 projections there. Awesome. So Westerners, but especially Americans in general, are notorious for being ignorant about geography. So if you gave 100 Americans a map and said, okay, where's Zimbabwe? Point to Zimbabwe. You wouldn't believe the result. People would be looking in South America. People would be looking in West Africa, in Asia. A couple people would find it, but it would probably take them a while. So there's a general, you can't assume. You guys know your destination. How could people not know about Victoria Falls? It's spectacular. It's a wonder of the world. But what good does that do if I ask 100 people in the United States and none of them know even what country Victoria Falls is in? So you really have to put yourself in the shoes of the people you're trying to reach. And many of them are just not even aware of any of these things that exist in your country. And that goes for the entire region, not just Zimbabwe. People are also busy. A lot of consumers, people who have the resources to travel to Africa, they get 2 weeks of vacation. They are extremely busy. They're raising kids. They're working harder and harder. The number of hours that Americans work consistently goes up. So they don't have time to spend, sit down for 4 hours and research their next trip. You guys need to inspire them, to give them that photo that catches their eye and says, wow, look at that, Victoria Falls. Where is that? I want to go there. So people are busy. That's another problem. People don't know what they want, and again, it's a decision that you need to make for them by inspiring them with great content. And the biggest one, I think, and cannot stress this enough, people are grossly misinformed about Africa. They have horrible preconceptions. This place is dangerous. This place, I need a tour, someone to hold my hand the entire time I'm here. Otherwise, I'll be stuck and stranded in the middle of nowhere and put myself in a dangerous position, put my family in a dangerous position. Those sorts of things I can't afford. It's ridiculously expensive to have someone always with you. So, I want to make it clear that this is not something that's just African. This is not an African problem. There are dozens of countries that deal with similar problems with bad misconceptions, especially with Americans. I've worked with a ton. I'll give you one example, Colombia. Colombia came to us and they were like, we think we have a serious PR problem. And I would say, I would have to agree with you. And they said, we've done some market research, and 9 out of 10 people we asked about, what do you think about travel to Colombia? They mentioned kidnapping, they mentioned crazy threats of violence. They're like, you'd have to have your head examined to go to Colombia. Well, I knew Colombia. I've been there 3 times already. It's one of my favorite countries in South America. But I did understand. So why is that? Where do these misconceptions come from? Well, oftentimes it's either the media, as in CNN, something they see 4 years ago about violence in Zimbabwe, so they think for the next 4 years that it's a violent place. Or in Colombia's case, I think it's even more so Hollywood, unfortunately. So most people, have challenged me. Every time I go to Colombia, I've always got like an aunt or an uncle that's like, you're going to get kidnapped. It's crazy there. It's a drug war. It's really not. It's actually a completely safe place, and it's a wonderful country with incredible culture. So I sat down and I asked the people who were trying to promote these destinations in Colombia, okay, what are you doing content-wise? And they said, we're focusing on cuisine. And I was like, are you serious? So you just did a market research that said that they think they're going to fear for their life traveling your country, and you're writing about cuisine. So what's going to happen there, basically, I told them, someone's going to see your article on the authentic cuisine of Colombia. They're going to be like, man, that looks delicious, but you'd get kidnapped at lunch. So that's really not overcoming the hurdle that they need to overcome. So my advice to anyone who feels like they run tourism marketing for a place that has bad misconceptions around it, attack them head on. So I sat down and told them, we're going to go in a different direction. We can get to cuisine. The first articles we're going to write, 10 reasons Colombia is not as dangerous as you think. Now, if you think Colombia is dangerous, you're going to click on that link because you're going to be like, oh, that's bull. Like, I don't believe that. Like, it is dangerous. So you bait the people in because you're making a statement that is different than what they believe. And then as they read down the article, they're like, maybe I don't know a goddamn thing about Colombia. Maybe maybe I don't know anything about Colombia, and I've really made a mistake giving it such a bad rap. And then as you're going through that article, you can throw in the fact that there's never been, in the last 3 years, any violent crime against tourists in this incredible rainforest region in the north. It's a great attraction. So along the way, you can showcase those aspects of your country. People are like, man, not only does it seem way safer than I thought, but I'm also learning that it's got natural beauty that I never knew it had. It's got this cuisine, this music culture. So it's really important to really address the things that you think head on, that people are thinking about you in a negative light. If people think that Zimbabwe, for example, I heard, someone told me or I saw in the news that a lot of the wildlife has been depleted, so it's a bad place to go safari. You should be hammering people with videos, photo essays, articles about amazing wildlife. Prove them wrong, because they are going to be interested in it because it goes against what they currently believe. And then there's the opportunity, and I really don't have to tell you guys this. You know what you have. You have the most amazing product maybe in the world in terms of the travel experience. You've got hands down, the most amazing wildlife. Not even close. You've got incredible cultures that are super authentic and interesting and different and unique. You've got people. I put her in the center because everyone comes to Africa for the sunsets, the wildlife, and most people, when they leave, they're most impressed with the people here. So, you have the most friendly people, the most resilient people, and you've got all these things to brag about. So start bragging. It's the big message. I always say that the web allows us to create our own success. And what I mean by that is that you should not sit there and wait for the New York Times to come down to Zimbabwe and write about you. Don't wait for USA Today to come down and send their film crew to your destination. You guys know the product. You know why this place is so special. So you should be shouting it from the rooftops. You should be opening a Facebook account and not updating it every month or every week, but every day with a great photo or a great video or a great statement from someone who's there. So you can, it's yours for the taking. You can create your own success, and it's really not that hard, and it really doesn't cost that much money. So that said, Facebook, as Ronnie pointed out, is just a platform. You need content. I talk to DMOs all the time that say, hey Ross, we've got our Facebook and our Twitter. We know we got to get on the ball with social media, but we're just not getting those followers and fans fast enough. We don't understand what's going on. And then I go check out their Facebook page, and they haven't posted anything for 3 weeks. So, without content, Facebook would look like this. It would be a very boring place. They would not be doing $100 billion IPO. It would be a very uninteresting place. So it's critical that you are constantly getting content. And again, addressing those misconceptions and inspiring people so they see that photo, they read that article, and they decide this is where I want to take my next vacation. So that's a lot of work. Where does the content come from? This is kind of a crappy graphic. I didn't really know how to do this, but I'll try to explain it as best I can. Partnering for the future is the theme of this summit. And that's really, at the top level, what needs to happen. Someone has to take initiative with leadership and gather up all the partners, all the stakeholders in a country. And what I mean by that is the hotels, it's the airlines, it's the tiny little bed and breakfast, it's the safari companies. Anyone who has an interest in more visitors coming here, they are your partner. You guys are all on the same team, and I know some people they can be defensive of their content. So say there's a safari company in Zimbabwe, and you ask them for their very best photos of safari. Some of them might say, oh, those are all copyright. We can't just be putting those online. That's fine if they want to stay out of the party, but they're missing a huge opportunity, because it's very easy for you to give them credit. If you build 10,000 Facebook fans, and I send you an unbelievable shot of a walking safari, a couple people and looking at elephants from a couple yards away, a couple meters away, and just an unbelievable photo that will make people stop and think, man, I really want to go here. If they give you that photo, it's really easy to say, hey, photo credit is Ross Borden's Africa Zimbabwe Safari Company. And I will get value. If I give you that photo, I will get value back because people are like, man, all the attention is on the photos. People are sharing it on Facebook. People are discovering your destination through that photo. And they say, man, where was this taken? Zimbabwe by these guys. Click, and then I go to their site. That's a potential lead or a potential customer for a $4,000 safari. So it's in every partner's interest to put their best content forward and get it on the web. I know that it's a lot of work. I mean, I keep up with this stuff because I have to. But every time a new social media site comes out, my whole team is like, oh my God, here we go. Now we got to build a new Pinterest board. It's the newest one of this year. There's Flickr, there's Facebook, there's StumbleUpon, there's Google+. It's a lot of work. But if you focus on photos, you can really put them, I agreed with Ronnie that you want to talk to on different platforms a little differently, but photos are simple. They don't require much other than posting it, and posting that partner and the location of where it was shot. So it really shouldn't be that difficult to find a winning photo. If something's blowing up, meaning that a lot of people are sharing it, people are commenting on it, people are liking it on Facebook, it's probably going to be the same thing on Twitter. Put the same photo on Twitter. Post it on Flickr, post it on Pinterest, whatever social media channels you have. You don't have to have a new strategy for each one because it's exhausting. It's a ton of work. But it's worth being in all these places, and I would definitely start with Facebook because you can create engagement, you can inspire people, and it will generate bookings and people coming to your country. This is just one example. This is a photo that we published on the Facebook on Matador. And basically, if you see, it's really hard to see, but 5,205 people liked it. 1,433 people shared it, sent it out to all their followers. And it got 206 comments. So every time that happens, there's a notification on everyone's Facebook feed. If I like it, it will show all of my friends. So that's how we got from 0 to 1.8 million in 6 years. It's all through discovery. It's through friends of friends. And sort of the step one is if you can defeat those negative connotations to your destination, and you can make people feel and think differently, some people will come to your country. And then what's going to happen? We all know. They're going to have an amazing experience. They're going to go home. They're going to be posting photos on Facebook. They're going to be tweeting about their experience. They're going to be telling their friends at dinner parties, man, Zimbabwe blew our mind. It was unbelievable. And what's going to happen then? Then it's stage 2 of all of their friends planning trips. This is how the growth happens, and this is how you can get from 3% up into the double digits. That's it. So if you guys have questions, let me know.
2 questions. Anybody?
My name is Chido. I'm from the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority. Mine is more of a comment than a question. I think basically what I've noticed is that in industry, they are not very knowledgeable on how to use social media, and what we basically as tourism authorities, boards and ministries need to do is to demystify how people can use Facebook, for instance, or how they can use Twitter to market themselves, to put the story out there. There's a lot of misinformation about Africa. There are a lot of stories that make people not want to come to Africa. So it's up to us to tell our story using these free online platforms. And as an authority, we're actually spearheading an effort to have an e-tourism workshop in July to teach industry about how can we get online as Africans, how can we get online as small players, how can we tell our story at the least cost to the most people. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I would just say I definitely agree with you, and I think that all that really has to be done, all this information is out there. There are experts, many experts on the subject. You can actually learn a lot by just getting on the site and poking around and trying to create a profile, you'll learn you're not going to do anything. The great thing is when you create a profile on Facebook, no one's listening yet. So you're not going to embarrass yourself or make a mistake, but just get on. I would encourage everyone to just get on the site, create a profile, and start to learn more about these things, because I think if you guys bond together in a team and really make this a priority, you're going to be just blown away by the result. So thanks for the comment. Anyone else? Yeah.
I just have a comment regarding YouTube. By accident, we were watching wildlife, and my wife films an incredible attack on wildlife. Sorry. And it's got 1.8 million visitors on YouTube. And it was a handycam, a very small camera. You can listen to my children's voice talking. Cost zero. I bought the camera. So that reinforces sort of what Ross says. Thank you.
Anyone else?
The last question.
Thanks a lot. Ross, thank you very, very much. For the lady in Zimbabwe, conventional media vis-a-vis contemporary media. If I was to put a full page, full color in the Sunday Times in South Africa or in the Zimbabwean Herald, it will cost me from South Africa 284,000 rands to reach an audience of X amount. The previous speaker did give us audiences of where people go, and Ross has just presented to us what we call a media plan. How do you reach different audiences and how many times? Reach and frequency. His second slide was nothing, at zero cost. So I think tomorrow we'll speak more about it, and to say to the Zimbabwean counterparts, this is the time, this is the moment, let us jump in onto social media and work out what he calls content. I'm passionate about photography, and we'll talk about it later. A picture tells a million stories. How do we get those pictures? Can we train Zimbabweans to take relevant pictures and they post them? Frequency, many, many times. Thank you so, so much. Let's do it.
It was a great presentation. This will be a lot of successful presentation, and until the next session is starting in 10 minutes, we have a lot of announcements. From the young professionals we have today, come on here, all of you, and